Hello everyone, I'm Gerard Ibarra, author of Good Decisions, Better Outcomes. Today I would like to discuss with you how I use my framework to help me select the best foundation company for my home. I used it because of the amount of money I anticipated to spend, so let me break down the 5 steps for you. First, I understood how my trifecta influencers would shape my decision-making process. Cost is very emotional to me, hence I realized what to expect. Second, I knew that to make good decisions I would need to use the 3-tier philosophy to guide me in my research while keeping my emotions in check. This philosophy prevented me from making a decision solely based on cost. Third, I used the P2MODE method. This is especially important because it helped me look for things I needed to consider when selecting a foundation company. In my book, Good Decisions, Better Outcomes, I discuss that the method helps you consider the problem or objective from a systems view. That is, you look at the big picture and figure out what is your exit strategy. The P2MODE method ensured that I considered many of the important aspects from a systems view when making my decision. Let me now show you the items I considered for the foundation work based on the P2MODE. I started with parts. However, as I was identifying these items, I did at times think of an item that did not belong to parts, but to another category. When I came across an item that did not belong to the parts, I immediately entered it into the appropriate category. To keep things simple, I will stay in order of the P2MODE. So let's define what is our needs and wants. Remember, these are two different things. This is the P2MODE table that I intend to fill with my needs and wants. You could set up something differently, but the point of the table is to make sure I consider the foundation work from an overall view. First, cost was especially important to me and thus top of mind. It was also a need since my budget is not an open checkbook. I call this item foundation cost. This is solely the cost of the work. It does not include any interior or exterior cosmetic or otherwise needed work in the bid. I was thinking ahead by ensuring I compared like items to like items, apples to apples, and it's why I just wanted the cost of the foundation work. The measurement for this item was dollars and the category was need. Next was customer ratings. This for me was a need since I don't want to hire a company with poor reviews. Of course, I will take under consideration the number of reviews. I will place much less emphasis on a company with 3 total reviews, with 1 being bad, than a company with 21 reviews and 3 of them being bad. The measurement for this item was stars and the category was need. Along with reviews I found on the internet, I also considered the Better Business Bureau reviews. This is an unbiased organization and they act as a conduit to help resolve disputes between the customer and the vendor. The measurement for this item was their customer rating and the category was need. Another item was the number of years in business. I believe the longer they've been in business, the more they know. I also believe if they have only been in business less than 3 years, they are still new and trying to get established. For me, I'd rather not deal with a new company. The measurement for this item was years in business, and the category was need. Then there was the start date. I would like for the company to start as soon as possible because I feel every day that goes by was more of a chance for further damage. The measurement was the number of days before the work begins after the contract was signed. The category was a want. I gave it a want because even though I felt there would be more damage, I rather get a company that was reputable, dependable, and reliable that does great work than to force one to start earlier. Here I go again thinking of costs. Discounts was the next item in my list. Although I already have the foundation's cost entered, the discount was a placeholder for me to ask and negotiate with the company on their charges. You won't believe how well this works when you put the company on the spot. The measurement for this was dollars and the category was need. After the start day, I chose personal reference. If I know someone that has had some work done by the foundation company, I gave it a higher mark. The way I saw it was I would get some real data about the company's performance. The measurement for this item was the number of people and the category was need. Here was something I did not know until I started reading the contracts. Remember, the more you know, the better your decision. In the contract, the foundation company stipulates what constitutes the foundation to fall out of compliance. It's not you, the homeowner, that tells them that the house is starting to shift. In fact, they will only warrant the piers they installed. and they measure them based on structure span or downward movement. The first is how much downward movement there is over a designated length. The other is how much the piers sink downward. So what does this mean? If the house shifts and all the piers are within the warranty's tolerance, then they don't cover the house. The measurement for this was the number of inches moved downward, and the category was need. Next is warranty. Does the company offer a warranty? This is important so that we have some peace of mind of the workmanship on the foundation. The measurement for this item was lifetime or number of years, and the category was need. Following warranty are the endorsements. Does the foundation company have any endorsements from the reputable organizations or spokespeople? Although I don't place my decision on an organization or spokesperson, at least I know for them to get that type of endorsement, the company must be doing something good. Of course, they could be paying the organization or spokesperson to say good things about them. The measurement for this item was the number of people or organizations that endorsed the company. The category was a want. Another item to consider is the pier types. Are they using cement or steel? Based on my research, cement does perfectly fine for a residential home. Steel is used more often with large buildings and factories. So this means if they try to push steel on me, they might be trying to sell me more than what I need. The measurement for this item was cement or steel. The category was need. What about payment fees? Will the foundation company allow me to use a credit card? And if so, is there a fee associated with it? Typically, if you're using a credit card to spend a great deal of money with a service provider, they charge you anywhere from 0.5% up to 3% in fees of the total purchase. At least that has been my experience. The measurement for this was percent, and the category was need. Since most of my professional career required me to read numerous contracts, it's important for me that the foundation company's contract did not take advantage of the homeowners purchasing the services. Things that the foundation company could include was how the warranty is structured, to the limits imposed by arbitration, to them canceling the contract without your consent. Thus, contract is another item in my list. The measurement for this was a numeric rating from 0 to 5, where 5 meant the contract was geared more to the customer than the vendor. The category was need. After contract was cancellation. Does the foundation company offer a cancellation once you sign the contract? I want to be able to get out of the contract in the event something happens between the day I signed the contract and before work begins. This could be anything from me having to leave almost immediately for an extended period of time and I won't be home, to losing my job, to hearing something on the news where the company that I chose was under some type of investigation. The measurement for this was the number of days allowed to cancel the contract without any penalties, and the category was need. Along the same lines as contract and cancellation, there was the termination clause that came to my mind. Does the company have a termination clause where they can get out of the contract simply by refunding your money? This includes after the work has been completed. The measurement for this was a yes or no, and the category was a need. Next was drainage inspection. Does the company provide me information about the drainage around my house, whether it needs work or not? If the company doesn't give me the information, then I would like to think that they don't have my best interests in mind. In other words, if I don't have to ask them about the drainage around my house and they tell me about the drainage around the house, whether it's good or bad, then I feel better about the company. The measurement for this was a yes or no, and the category was a need. Then there was ongoing training. Does the company provide training year-round to their people? If they do, then I suspect that these people are always at the forefront of foundation work. The measurement for this was a yes or no, the category was a need. Afterwards was quote fee. Does the foundation company charge a fee to give you a quote on their work? Is there a trip charge at least? The measurement for this was dollars, and the category was need. Another fee that I consider were the pile fees. Some companies would charge if they have to go deeper than 30 feet. The measurement for this is dollars, and the category was a need. Problem diagnosis was the next item that I considered. Does the foundation company have my best interests? I would give them a good rating if they gave me any information that might help me maintain my foundation. I guess some might think of this as a get out of jail free card by telling me that these are the things that you need to do in order for the warranty to be valid. However, that's written in the contract. For me, I prefer someone giving me information verbally and teaching me about things I should do to keep my foundation from shifting. The measurement for this was a yes or no, and the category was need. The next item I considered was if the foundation company made a top 10 list. I just feel a little more secure knowing that they made a top 10 list. However, as before, it could be that the foundation company pays the top 10 listing site a fee for being a partner. Being a partner is a euphemism for advertising. The measurement for this was ranking number and category was a want. The reason I do want is only because I cannot be 100% sure if the foundation company is paying the top 10 site and any advertising fees. Afterwards were day laborers. Does the foundation company hire day laborers? If they do, then these individuals may not be as skilled as those who do this type of work every day. The measurement for this was a yes or no, and the category was a need. Another item that I considered was insurance. Does the foundation company carry insurance sufficient to warrant the type of work they're doing for my home? For the most part, I suspect they do. However, there's always that one company that's trying to sneak by. The measurement for this was a yes or no, and the category was a need. I also considered the engineering report required to complete the foundation work. Will the foundation company provide their own engineer to measure and review the suggested work that they recommend? If they do, for me it's a red flag because the engineering company also works for the foundation company. The measurement for this was a yes or no, and the category was a need. I would like to point out one other quite important aspect about this item. In my book, I talk about things you know that you don't know and things that you don't know that you don't know. Well, I tried to get as much information as I could by doing research and getting estimates. When I got estimates, I asked the person as many questions as I could. Nonetheless, after the work was done, I learned that I could have had an independent engineer come and do the measurements for a fee and then use an official report as the benchmark when getting quotes from the foundation companies. I'll talk about this later when I get into the comparison part of the analysis. Lastly, was the foundation company a local company or not? For me, if I need some help disputing the work or questioning the warranty when I have to use it, I'd rather deal with a local company. Yes, national companies have gotten efficient in responding to their customer concerns and needs. However, I'd rather call up a local company where the person who answers the phone knows the owner and could get decisions made right away. With a local company, I've always had better luck in getting something resolved quicker and with more efficiencies. There is no wait until the next representative is available recordings or the next chat person will be with you shortly. There is also no prompt after prompt to get you to the right person, and then when you get there, you have to go to another department and after you are on hold for 30 minutes. And if your concern is that important to you, just get in your car and pay them a visit. The measurement for this was the number of miles from my house to the vendor, and the category was a need. There was another thing I like to bring up when I was doing my research. There were some companies that offered financing, that is, payments with an interest attached to the bill. I didn't put this into my list of items because I don't need to finance the work at a high percent. I either pay it outright or pay it according to their installments without incurring any fees. Remember, this is about you, and you may choose to add this and a slew of other items that I did not mention. The premise of the framework still holds true, where it helps you make the best decision for you, not me. Now I'm going to cover a process of the P2 mode. I started with the days to complete the work. Although it will take whatever time it will take, I wanted to see what the companies would tell me. If the majority of the estimates take 2 days and one of the companies is off by 1 or more days in either direction, then I will give this company a bad marks. Either they take shortcuts or not have enough people to do the work. Yes, this is guesswork as to if the number of days to complete the work is an indication of their proficiency, but that's okay. My framework accounts for this type of weighing and ranking of each item. The measurement was the number of days to complete and the category was need. Another thing I thought about was arbitration. What triggers arbitration? Is it to protest the work? Is it to inspect the work completed? How difficult of a process is it to get the company under an arbitration? The measurement for this, based on my understanding, is a 1 for easy, up to 5 for difficult. The category was need. Along with arbitration was the ease of contract. Was the contract easy to understand? Was it easy to follow? I put this in here because if it's a difficult contract to follow, to me, it would appear that they're trying to protect themselves with some type of clause buried within the context of the contract. The measurement for this was 1 for easy and 5 for extremely difficult. The category was need. Just a quick note. I spoke about the contract in parts and now here in process. It's okay to have it in 2 places. One deals with the accuracy and the other one with how convoluted or extended was the contract. The longer the contract, the more stipulations, the more things the vendor could do to protect themselves. Also was the ease of warranty. Was the warranty easy to understand? Was it easy to follow? Did it make sense? The measurement was 1 for easy and 5 for extremely difficult. The category was need. And to close off this section about arbitration, contracts, and warranties, I included contract accuracy. Did the contract read correctly from one page to the other and from one set of documents to another? Were they cross-referenced correctly? The measurement for this was a yes or no. The category was a need. One pet peeve of mine is the ease of communication. What I mean by this is, are there multiple ways to contact my sales rep? Does the sales rep respond immediately? Does the office answer immediately or reply to my emails timely? I don't expect them to drop everything, but I do expect them to at least be somewhat punctual and efficient. This item will take place as I'm obtaining bids from companies. The measurement for this was 1 for yes, easy to communicate with, and 5 for no, not easy to communicate with. The category was need. Another item was obstructions. Does the company remove and replace flower beds, shrubs, and the like if it's going to be in the way of the foundation work? I'm not talking about big-ticketed items such as tree or some deep roots. I'm talking about simple things. And if they don't replace these things, that means I'll have to spend time and energy to get this part of the work completed. The measurement for this was yes or no, and the category was need. Lastly, under the process section was payment. Are the payments easy where I could write out a check or use my credit card? Can I pay online? Do they require a certified or cashier's check? The measurement for this was yes or no if I could use any payments method, and the category was need. The next section in the P2 mode was maintenance costs. One of the items I wanted to consider was warranty inspection costs. Is there a cost for the company to come out and inspect the foundation? The measurement for this was dollars, and the category was need. Another item was trip charge. Does the company charge you to come out to your home after they completed the work and inspect it because you feel the house is shifting? Do they charge you for any type of visits? The measurement was dollars, and the category was need. That's all I had for maintenance costs. The next section of the P2 mode was operational costs. Does the company charge to do a leak test before the work is performed? Do they even recommend it? The measurement for this is dollars, and the category was need. Based on what I have read and was told by 2 companies I solicited a bid from, was that we should get a leak test done before and after completing the work. If a leak is found before the work begins, the owner is required to fix the leak. If it's found after the work, the foundation company should take care of the leak. You must verify on the contract if the foundation company is liable to repair the leak. Which brings me to the last item, that is doing a leak test after completing the work. Do they offer one, or do you have to get someone else to do it? Like before, the measurement is dollars, and the category was need. Next on the P2 mode was disposal. This is our exit strategy, where the first item under this category was warranty transfer. Does the company allow me to transfer the warranty to the next homeowner? This is important because someone who's going to purchase my home will want to see a warranty showing them being covered in the event something happens with the foundation. The measurement for this was a yes or no, and the category was need. I also wanted to include if there was a warranty transfer fee. Does the company charge you to transfer the warranty? The measurement for this was dollars, and the category was need. Another item is cleanup. Does the company stipulate in their contract that they will clean up after the work is done? I'm sure the company will tell you that they do that. However, later on the video, I will explain why you might want some specifics written into the contract, or at least let the company know that there are some items you want to make sure that they take care of when they clean up. This happens to be another one of those, there are things you know that you don't know, and things you don't know that you don't know. The measurement for this was yes or no. The category was need. The last thing I considered was replace items. Does the company replace small shrubs or flowers that they need to remove to do the work? I'm not talking about big-ticketed items such as a large bush or ornamental trees, but things that they can replace fairly easy by a person. Their contract may state they, 1, cannot remove large items without incurring additional charges, or 2, guarantee when they replace them that the flowers or shrubs might live. The measurement for this was a yes or no, and the category was need. Remember earlier I talked about obstructions? This definition is the same as replace items. However, with the first I'm talking about my time and energy. In the second, if they do it. You can see that this item was on my mind as I had it in 2 places. This is perfectly fine as my framework accounts for these things. The last portion of the P2 mode is our emotions. These are what creates your wants. This is what makes you feel good about the decision you will make based on your emotions that may or may not be logical. I say logical or not because based on how you treat the person may have an impact on service and costs you receive. It's hard to quantify and prove, but it does exist, and more so on the service than on the cost side. First was company reviews. How do you feel about the company with a 4 to 5 star review compared to one with less than 4 stars? For me, I feel better about a company who has a high star reviews versus one with low reviews. The measurement for this was number of stars and the category was a want. Next is the salesperson. How do you feel about working with a salesperson that came to pay you a visit? Do you feel secure? Do you feel that the person is telling you the truth? Is the person sincere? Does the salesperson respond to your emails, texts, and phone calls in a reasonable amount of time? Can they effectively communicate with you? That is, do you understand them when they speak to you, or do they go over your head with a bunch of foundation jargon? Can you understand their texts and emails, or do you have a difficult time making sense of what they wrote? All of these are aspects that I look for when I'm dealing with a salesperson. The measurement for this was 0 to 5, where 5 is I really enjoyed working with a salesperson. The category was a 1. Lastly is customer service. The salesperson will more than likely be the person that you communicate before, during, and right after the project. The customer service aspect on this item concerns those people at the office. Can these people help you, or do they always have to reach out to the salesperson? Are these people at the office courteous and kind? Do they try to resolve your issue or question before reaching out to the salesperson so you don't have to waste more time? Again, these are all aspects I look for when I'm dealing with customer service. The measurement for this was from 0 to 5, where 5 was I really enjoyed the customer service provided. My final table looks like this. There are 45 items that I came up with that concern my needs and wants. You may have more, about the same, or less. If you only have a few, say a handful, then maybe you should do a little more research to ensure everything that is important to you that I did not cover in my list, you cover. Now that you have your list of items, the next part of the framework is to assign weights to each item in the terms of a system. Briefly, you must weigh each item so that you end up with a total of 100%, not any more or less, just 100%. This is the part of the framework that considers each item in terms of a system. Next is to remove what I call the white noise. These are items on your list that don't have a significant impact one way or the other when you make your decision. That is, they don't change the outcome for you. You're selecting the best foundation company based on your needs and wants. I use 77% for mine instead of 80% because of going from 16th to 17th item was a difference of a 25% drop. In fact, items 17 through 21 all had the same weight, and if I was to include the 80% tile, then I needed to add 5 more needs and wants to my list of items. At this point, I start getting into analysis paralysis. That is, doing analysis for the sake of analysis. However, this is about you. If you want to include them, then by all means do so. Once you have most important items defined, you are ready to determine the scores. Briefly, you start with ranking each item on your list and then determining the total score. This is your base score. Then you compare each alternative's items to the base and each other by doing it like items with like items. That is, if you start with cost, then you must look at each alternative's cost and compare them to each other and your base to determine your rankings for each alternative. When done, you add each of the alternative's line item scores to get the total score. The highest score is the best choice. Let's take a look at which foundation company we will choose. Which company is the best alternative? Notice the total base score is 511.6. This means any alternative lower than the base is not considered. If all the companies were less than the base, that means we need to look for some more companies. One quick note, you can compare as many companies as you want. I did 4 because of time constraints. Yeah, my foundation needed some quick attention, and with work and everything else on my plate, I only did 4. Provided are the scores for company A. Notice how high the score is for cost. You may think you have a winner already. Next are the scores for company B. Notice that its score for cost is less than A and the base. You may think that Company A is still the best choice, with cost being one of your deciding factors. Next are the scores for Company C. Notice once again that this score for cost is less than B and A and the base. You may think again Company A is the best choice. Lastly, Company D gets 0. One of the things that I did in the midst of my interviews and follow-up was deciding that a warranty transfer and insurance were showstoppers. If they did not provide a transfer or had insurance, then they are completely out of the running. That is what I did with Company D. They did not provide a transfer of warranty, so no matter how good all the other items were, it didn't matter. They were not selected. Okay, which company should I go with? Let's see. It appears that my best choice is Company B. Even though they were not the least expensive in terms of a system, they were the best alternative. That is the beauty of the framework. You look at all the important things together to come up with the best alternative for you. Not your neighbor or friend, but you. Their requirements may be different. Just like I mentioned why having a payment plan for me did not matter, might matter for someone else. Before I finish, I wanted to share with you what I learned after my choice was made. Remember, I stated there are things that I know that I don't know, which is why I did my research, and there are things I don't know that I don't know. Well, there were two things that I did not know that I didn't know. One was cleanup. When the foundation company was done, they put the dirt dug back along the perimeter of the house. It did not look professional, as it appeared to have been close to the edge of the foundation where it meets the brick. It was also taller in some areas and shorter in others. I called and I was told that it's normal what they did, and if I wanted, I could have them come out and redo it where it is more level. I told them not to worry about it if it was normal, and I'll take care of smoothing out the dirt. However, what they also did was cover up the sprinkler heads. This is where I would have placed flags and told the crew to make sure that they don't cover the sprinkler heads. At least when they were done, they knew that I knew they must not cover the heads. Not that they did this purposely, but were not careful. Should I have known this? Maybe, but now I do. The other item that was something I did not know that I didn't know was the estimates given to me were all different because of the number of piers, and where they had to dig were not the same. It took me time to back into the cost per pile so that I could compare apples to apples. This is part of the framework. Notice what I'm talking about here. The three companies all had different measurements and thus estimates. Which one is correct? After more investigative work and questions, I learned that it is the structural engineer that had the final say-so. What do you mean? I asked the company. They told me that in the county where I live, the city requires a structural engineer to determine what the house needs. No company can submit the work to the county unless it was from a licensed structural engineer. I asked, so what do you provide is just an estimate, and could it go up or down depending on the engineer? Yeah, I was told. Had I known this, I would have called the engineer first to assess the work needed, and then would have reached out to the foundation companies for a quote. This would have made things much simpler and easier to compare. I chalk this up as one of those things I did not know that I didn't know. Hopefully, at least you know now when you start comparing foundation companies some of the things you should look for. So, in summary, you should understand how your trifecta influencers can affect you. Use the three-tier philosophy that guides you with your research. Employ the P2 mode to help you capture your needs and wants from a systems perspective. Know that your total base score is the minimum score you will accept from any company you might choose. Select the company with the highest score above the base as the best company for you that considers your needs and wants from a systems perspective. In addition, I talk about in my book, there are things that you know that you don't know and things you don't know that you don't know. Here are the two things that I learned that I did not know about until after the work was completed. One was to ensure you discuss with the foundation company not to cover the sprinkler heads with dirt if you have a system. I will use stakes with flags to mark where they are located. This way they know not to be lazy and cover your heads. The second and most important is you can, at least in the county where I live, get a certified structural engineer to measure your home and let the person tell you what you need to do to level it. This way you can present to the companies the work you need, which allows you to compare apples with apples between the different foundation companies. You won't have to decipher what the cost would be as I did with the three different solutions. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this and learned a little bit more about how to choose a foundation company. If you'd like to learn more about the framework I discuss, you could subscribe to my website as a member for free. There you could see the analysis part of the framework performed. There's also substantial content not readily available to the general public. You could also purchase the book, Good Decisions, Better Outcomes, which goes into great detail about the framework. What I gazed over, the trifecta influencers, three-tier philosophy, and the computation part of the framework are all in the book. Once again, thank you for your time. I sincerely appreciate you watching the video. If you like what I presented, give me a thumbs up. Also, if you wish, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a great day.